Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. I am not even sure what we're going to get into today. Honestly, sometimes I plan out my content and some days it's just like that. So I'm just going to give you little updates about what's going on, what I'm negotiating currently, you know, the tea. It's MLK week, so happy MLK Day to people who participated. I went to a show at Brooklyn Academy of Music, where they do an annual celebration of MLK Day and their speakers performance. I'm sitting next to this older woman, and she's talking about how there's going to be snow coming up this week. And she's like, thankfully, the Lord has brought me to a point in my life where I don't have to go out in it. I looked at her and I said, me too, sis, me too. She's probably wondering what I do because she's clearly retired. And so the concept that I could be, I don't know how old she thinks I am, but young, and I too am enjoying the fruits of non-labor. I just thought that was so funny. It really tickled me. But I thought that would be a good topic for what to talk about today. Actually, I'm not a big fan of going outside my house in January, so let's start there. When I was in fellowship, they asked actually if we wanted to go to the rural domestic site in Navajo Nation or Liberia and which order we wanted to do things in. And I always knew I was going to be in Liberia in January because January and February in New York is no joke. And I was not interested in it. And I knew that from since I was in med school in the Caribbean. Going to the island of Grenada in a January and you don't got to deal with New York winters is top tier, peak. 10 out of 10 recommend leaving New York in the wintertime. So the first year after fellowship, I worked in January. I was at the Afghan refugee camp. And at that point, we were stationed in New Jersey. And I remember trucking through the cold, and we had to park quite a ways away because we're on a military base. And so to get to the part of the base where the tents were set up, you had to park and then walk. I had remote start on my vehicle, and that was the only thing that saved me in the wintertime. And I just really thought, this is just not it for me working in the wintertime. If I had to design my life, because, I like to think about things that other people don't think are reasonable. And so not working in January is one of those things. Last year, I actually meant to be working, to be fair, right? I had done a Bali, Singapore, Malaysia trip at the end of summer. And I thought, okay, I'm going to take maybe a couple months off, but then maybe by Christmas time or so, I'll probably be working because, we got to afford Christmas gifts. It just so happened that I didn't find the right locums assignment, something that was going to pay me the rate that I wanted to make and to do that part-time. There's always full-time jobs and they're always willing to underpay, child, always. But for me, I have a threshold. I don't agree to anything that pays very little, especially if it's going to take me out of my house or across the country or to a community of an unfamiliar community. I'm not leaving my house for that. So I ended up not even securing a position till maybe February and then starting March. So last January was kind of unintentional, but I was not mad because I, again, hate wintertime and I hate to be cold. I'm a lady of leisure. I'm not meant to sludge through snow or have my eyes tear up because of the wind and then have that freeze to my face. It's just not a cute look for me. I'm really not into it. So it just so happens last winter, because of that, because I didn't find an assignment and I was okay with being warm in my house, I did not work last January. This year, when I took my assignment, it just so happens that they were going to end it by the end of December. And I thought that is perfect because I really do not want to leave my house in January if I don't have to. Like, why? It's cold. I probably should just move at this point, but I haven't committed to that yet. So I am at home this month. I am trying to line some things up. Of course, I'm running the Black Doctor coaching program. I don't remember. Oh, we did announce this on the podcast. In a previous episode with Dr. Kimmy, we announced that I am her first associate lead coach that she's hiring for her business. And so that is another source of work for me. I love coaching. It brings me great joy. So that's something that we're lining up. I'm getting started with that this month. But I did a courageous thing. It's funny because Dr. Kimmy has a new offer out, and it is becoming an audacious woman. And I love that because what I did last month in December was kind of audacious. I thought about, okay, I really want to work locally. This past assignment that I worked September to December was my first local job. And it was so nice to come home to my bed and not live in a hotel for months at a time. I really enjoyed coming home each day after work. Honestly, I think like for my Buffalo assignment, living in the hotel, pretty much eating food from Wegmans, I gained quite a bit of weight and I did not enjoy that. Last year, I avoided that because I think I just ate better. I mean, I think probably also ate from Wegmans, but the group I was with was very active. We were meeting at the gym in the morning before going to clinic, and I don't think I had to be there till 9, maybe. I don't remember, but it had enough time in the morning for me to work out, and the culture of working out was very prominent. All of my other providers were hitting the gym and doing stuff, and we would go for walks at lunchtime. And I just was way more active in Virginia than I was up in Buffalo. I mean, it's Buffalo. It snowed like every week for the first month that I was there. Um, so my Buffalo experience, health-wise, I felt not great. My body just wasn't doing well. So it was nice to come back home, eat home cooked meals, be able to cook in my kitchen, all of that. So I really valued being home. It's a change, right? Because I've literally been traveling for the last 4 years, probably, yeah, probably since residency. Such a huge shift for me to actually want to be in my house. And of course, my house is my house. Like I enjoy it. It's home. It's decorated. I have all this art from all over my travels. So I really actually enjoy the space. So I thought, okay, well, I promise you, I'm getting to the audacious thing. What can I do about finding a local assignment? Of course, I'm registered with multiple locums agencies that are sharing different opportunities, but with locums agencies, they pitch you things and they are not, there's nothing secure until it's secure, right? And even when it's secure, it's not secure. And I'll give you the example. I have applied to multiple positions. I've been presented for multiple positions. The thing is, like I said, I want to work both part-time. Some jobs prefer full-time employees. The locums agencies also want to hire the cheapest possible provider, and so they will hire someone else in that same position that they presented you for, and then just tell you that something fell through, or the people are not hiring anymore, or some other excuse, right? There's always something. Even when this position was filled for me to work in New York, they told me, oh, it could potentially be through December. But when they hired me, they said, oh, we're just going to hire you for 6 weeks. And it's because my locums company, my own locums company, was working with them to hire an NP to replace me. Now, that NP happened to fall through. I agreed to stay till December because at that point I had gotten pretty comfortable with the clinic. I enjoyed the working space. It was a very no drama or drama-free clinic. I enjoyed that. Population was really nice. The other providers were excellent. It was just a really nice working environment. So I was happy to extend. I ended up extending through December. But just that fact that my own company was trying to hire someone cheaper from right under me in the position I was already signed up for. And when I interviewed, the potential was to extend to December. And then all of a sudden it was to October. So things can be real fishy, right? So I thought about the fact that, okay, I'm applying to positions. I'm applying to positions. I would like to be at home. I don't want to commute too far. I have a friend who did a locums assignment in Queens this summer. I actually went to that locums agency, which in hindsight, dumb, to see. I asked my own locums agency if they had connections to that place, and I found out only one agency had that connection. And I went to them, and the recruiter was kind of a nincompoop. Was just really slow on everything. And so what I actually did was I sent my resume directly to that clinic. I don't know if they were hiring. I didn't know if they were looking for anybody outside of locums, but I thought, you know what? I'll give it a shot. I sent an email to the website email and said, hey, this is who I am. I know this doctor that worked for you over the summer. That's how I find out about you. I would be interested in working part-time or doing contract work for you if that's something that you have available. I went right around that locums company. And you can do that as long as they haven't presented you. Mind you, I had brought the opportunity to that locums company anyway, but they have very weird non-compete conditions, etc. So while the locums agencies are still working on assignments for me, I was like, I'm going to work on assignments for myself. Why not? That's what I did. Sent them an email. They replied maybe a day later and reached out to me even by phone because actually they were in the business of looking for a new provider. They wanted that. And they had been using locums in the interim to fill that position, but I could do that. It was really exciting for me to actually do something that I felt like was a little bit audacious. They didn't post to hire. I just decided I'm going to try and to have it result so positively instantly. It just reinforces in my brain that I need to be audacious, which is what I was talking about with Dr. Kimi's program, is that she has the Audacious Women's program. And I feel like it's fitting that I'm joining her team and also doing audacious things. And so that is what I'm in the process of getting lined up now. I'm really looking forward to working with them. I've gone to the office, I've met the team. We've talked about what this role would look like. I actually thought I was going to pitch them for per diem, and they turned around and pitched me for per diem, meaning that I'm not a full-time or part-time employee directly per se, but that I work, hourly, like I do for like a locums company. Right now, we're actually right in the throes of negotiating that contract. So fascinating to actually do the thing that I coach on because various things come up for me when I also negotiate. So two different negotiations are happening. I'm working through the contract with Dr. Kimi's team, who I love and they're awesome. And I'm working through the contract with this new pediatric practice for the opportunity to work for them part-time. And so I have signed neither contract. So y'all are getting this straight off the presses as it's currently happening, that I'm also undergoing negotiation. The thing I wanted to talk about today was the emotions that come up when you negotiate. Because obviously, I'm not going to talk about the specific contracts. They ain't signed yet, honey, until the ink is dried on the paper or clicked through on the on the e-form. I never want to talk about something that's in process because self-preservation, but I do want to talk about what has come up for me internally when it's time to negotiate. I'm a negotiation coach, y'all. I understand the exact mechanisms of my brain, how my brain works, my feelings. I understand everything about it. I know how to negotiate. I know the skill set. It is still a total mind warp sometimes. So I think like, okay, for example, with Dr. Kimi's team, I love working with Dr. Kimi. Dr. Kimi and I are actual friends in real life. That for me adds a flavor to the negotiation, right? I talk to clients all the time about not wanting to ruffle feathers or not wanting to seem ungrateful or greedy. And those are the exact emotions that are coming up for me right now. Is what are they going to think if I negotiate for more money or certain criteria or if I ask a lot of questions. Now for me, listen, I've gotten over the hump of asking a lot of I don't mind asking a lot of questions. It's not uncomfortable for me anymore. I will ask all of the things because I know how it goes if you don't outline things up front. And so I've consistently been pretty good about that, probably since I was like 18. When I had my first roommate, I was like, it's better to talk about the rules of being a roommate up front rather than to have something come up. And y'all never had that conversation. So for me, I've always understood the value of asking a lot of questions, especially up front, outlining things, planning for the worst, but hoping for the best, all of that. I still have an inner turmoil about asking for more, right? Whether that's more money, more hours, more benefits. Same thing with the clinic. I'm in this clinic, they came to me. I was going to ask them for per diem because that's what I wanted. I wanted to be able to maybe fill all their locum shifts, at least have the opportunity to work outside of a locum's contract where they take up to 50% of the money. I mean, not of my money because my rate is my rate, but profit wise, they charge the institution, the clinic, the hospital 20 to 50% more than what you're making on the hour. So this is a good opportunity for me to make a good amount of money doing what I like to do, serving a consistent community, which also has not been one of my priorities, to be honest. Continuity is not a huge thing for me because I think wherever I am, I'm going to do well and I'm going to serve the people well, and I'm okay with that. But it's nice to come home. It's nice to be at home. So the opportunity to take on a new coaching gig, to run my business how I want to run it, work the hours I want to work, and also do some clinical work, which means I still get to do pediatric patient care, which I love. I love patient education. I love interacting with kids. I love babies. I love them so much. They're just joy for me. So the opportunity to do all of these things means careful negotiation, but also financially, it has to be worth it because in order for you to work a job that doesn't cover a lot of your expenses, it means you have to work multiple things or work more hours. And considering I am trying to do three different roles, all of which fulfill me in different ways, and all of which I'm truly looking forward to doing, the money has to be right. It just has to. Otherwise, what am I doing? How am I going to be able to afford things? I'm going to be working more and not have a balance because work is not my whole life. We all know, listen, I do not live to work. I work to live. That is my philosophy. It has to support my lifestyle. That is what I'm building is the opportunity to work clinically and to do coaching in two different forums and also still live my life. Because I already got like 5 trips planned this year, y'all. Someone's got to fund it and someone's got to allot me the time to do it. So between birthday trips this year and retreats and all kinds of things that's going on, I have a lot of plans and I need to afford them. I need the flexibility to do all of them. So creating a workflow, creating a pay rate that supports all of the dreams that I have for myself is really important. That is what is going to override for me my feelings of discomfort is the word maybe in negotiating and asking for more money. It's so important. And one of the things I teach my clients is outlining the vision that they have for themselves, because that is what I'm falling back on now when I feel uncomfortable. Because is it going to be short-term discomfort of me dealing with this contract right now, these contracts up front, or is it going to be me trying to have to deal with this for the rest of the year as I try to afford things or try to wiggle my way into getting my vacation time? I never want to be on that end of the bargaining pole ever again. I did that before. When I wasn't clear in the past, or even in training, when you have no choice and you have to take your vacation, you have a set amount of vacation. Like I've done that. I feel like I've paid my dues. I sacrificed almost half of my life to be in medicine. People like to treat you like you haven't earned your dues if you're an early career physician. Baby, I gave you my 20s. What else do you want? I gave you my 30s. How much more can I get? Would you like my firstborn child? Because I prefer to enjoy my life and to live my life. And so that is really how I'm getting through the discomfort. I think about this a lot. I think about how I'm going to say things. I think about what's the best way to present things. I think about what is the worst case scenario? What's my alternative? And for me, both of these jobs, because of the way we've structured them, are things that I want to do because they are literally handcrafted by me and the people who are hiring me. We have literally come to the best agreements that serve both of us. And that is the beauty of a true negotiation. They present something, I contribute, we come to this great collaboration to create these roles, which is why the concept of having three jobs is not overwhelming to me. It's not crazy to me because it's exactly what I want. It's exactly the type of fulfillment that I want. And of course, there are termination clauses in all of these that say that if it doesn't work out, if it's not working for me, it's not working for them, we both have an out without being disruptive to each other's lives. And we both will do so in an amicable way. And there's reciprocity in that. So I have to give them the same amount of notice that they have to give me. Building contracts collaboratively is what I teach in the program. I don't do this adversarial approach of you need to give me what I want or else, or if they don't do this, I'm gonna walk, because that's not a good way to start a relationship. I think I had that approach when I first started negotiating. To be honest, I was like, you need to just pack your bag, sis, if they not giving it to you. And a lot of that's easier when you really already feel mistreated and you're coming from a place of hurt. As I've healed, I realized that those kinds of environments are not for me, period, right? If I'm in the kind of place where I feel like I'm fighting tooth and nail to get what I want, that's already not a place to start from. Those are not jobs that I consider. That's all part of the culture of consideration. That's all part of what I'm thinking about when I decide to accept an offer or before I get a contract, which is why I say the negotiation doesn't start at the contract, it starts before. They have to be able to woo me. They have to be able to explain and outline to me what is beneficial here. What are our mutual interests? Can we build on that? That is the place in which you negotiate from. I guess I'll give you guys an update in the next couple weeks. I'm signing contracts more than likely this week for both of those opportunities. And the timing could not be better because, like I said, I generally don't work in January, but I'm trying to be out of work forever. I do have things to pay for. I do have bills to pay. I mean, Lord. And I want to be hashtag soft life, enjoy my life. And yes, I can be soft life and have three jobs because I love all of them. It's literally doing the things that you love and doing everything in micro doses. So I'm never overwhelmed by anything. If I'm working in clinic 2 days a week, that's just enough time for me, I have found, to recover in between shifts, to get the dose of what I need to keep myself clinically relevant, to be engaged in my patient population, and not feel burnt out. And then I can spend time coaching other women. So in Dr. Kimmy's program, it's business coaching. I'm literally helping women build, women doctors, Black women doctors, well, I guess it's women doctors, build businesses and try new things, and they're building coaching businesses. So I run a coaching business. I've been coaching as a guest speaker in this program. I've had coaching. I've been trained as a coach. So it's really a nice opportunity for me to continue to hone my skills. And everything I learned there helps me in my own business, helps my clients that I serve, and I get to carry forward that knowledge and spread that knowledge. And my impact is great. That's all we want for the most part in medicine, is to have impact. All most humans want in life is to have impact, is to feel fulfillment. What is my legacy? What am I creating that adds value to my own life, to the lives of others? So I'm pretty excited about 2024. Just having the opportunity to construct roles, to create roles, to be flexible. This has taken me time because it required me to think outside the box, of course, but also to even feel safe enough to think outside the box, to expand my mind. It's been continuous growth in order to get here, because I had to accept that it was okay not to work full time or to consistently ask for part-time work. It's okay not to accept rates lower than a certain dollar amount, and consistently getting my rate. And you have to ask for it first before you get it. And then consistently being able to get it or have these roles really just continues to solidify, reinforce that behavior. But you have to be able to take the leap first, or else no one's going to offer it to you. Very interesting thing I was listening to at the MLK show. was a gentleman speaking about his journey and the work that he does now to contribute to society. He talked about the difference between asking for an opportunity and someone awarding you an opportunity. I just thought this was brilliant, actually. He talked about the concept of really wanting to be recognized and hoping that people would recognize him, but then also not just waiting, throwing his name in the ring and saying that sometimes it does feel different. It feels different to ask for recognition than it is to be spontaneously recognized. The reason this clicked for me was I thought about us as doctors wanting to be recognized. That is the root of so much strife in medicine and so many reasons why people don't negotiate. They're just hoping that someone sees the quality of their work, their dedication to the job, how many unpaid tasks that they are taking on. They're just hoping that someone is going to see them, recognize them, and offer them more money, to offer them a raise, to promote them. That's just generally not what happens. Sometimes you have to ask for it. We need to learn how to feel good about asking for it and getting an opportunity in the same way that we feel about spontaneous recognition, acknowledgement, and reward. Those are different things. I feel like that's such a big motivator for us is that we want to be recognized. I think this is particularly important for people who feel imposter syndrome. Because if you feel like you shouldn't be somewhere, how great is it to be recognized? How great is it for someone to see you and you to feel appreciated? It then counteracts the negative feelings you were having about being unappreciated. It counters some of your doubts. If you have to ask for things, it almost in a way, in a dysfunctional way, maybe reinforces that people are not seeing you. If they haven't seen you, then how likely are they to give you what it is you're asking for? I really need us to shift to that thought frame. And I just thought about it because so many doctors I talk to talk about imposter syndrome, talk about why they're working and doing unpaid work and how they need to prove their worth. When we talk about negotiation, we talk about, I have a section in my program that I call abilities and acumen, where we talk about what is it that you bring to an environment? What are you offering? What's your specialty? Maybe there's things that you specialize in that other people don't know about. And so many doctors feel they need to prove that. They need to make sure it's on their resume. They need to talk about it. They want to talk about all the acts of service outside of work that they're doing as evidence that they are deserving to be in a space. But I want to tell you, don't let wanting to be recognized stop you from asking to be chosen. Let me say that again. Do not let the desire for recognition, especially spontaneous recognition, stop you from asking, from saying, choose me. I am the candidate. Sometimes things, people are not even paying attention to you. They don't even know all the things you're doing. Sometimes you have to toot your own horn. We talk a lot about, especially white male physicians who present themselves in a way that's confident and cocky and they act as if the role is already theirs or they're already deserving of it. That's what I want us to operate from because they already believe they are deserving of recognition. If you do not believe you are deserving of recognition, then you will wait for someone to spontaneously recognize you. That will be how you derive your feelings of self-worth and fulfillment. But if you recognize yourself and you say, I am perfect for this opportunity, let me go ahead and submit and throw my name in the hat or the ring or whatever the euphemism is. Let me toot my own horn. Let me send this private practice that doesn't even say they're hiring an email. You get chosen for that. That is way more likely to result in you getting the kinds of jobs you want, the kind of opportunity you want, than it is for you to sit back and hope to be noticed. Honestly, and sit back and sometimes just wait for your heart to be broken, right? Because it may never happen. That is the lesson of the day. Don't let wanting to be recognized stop you from asking to be chosen. Tell these people to choose you. Tell them that this is your value. That is what shifted for me in my business. For a long time, I talked about coaching, I offered coaching, and I was a little bit shy about selling it. You can hear all of my seasonal episodes from last year. I mention the program sometimes. I definitely don't mention it on my guest episodes. It was when it clicked for me that no matter what, you need to negotiate. It is literally the best option, and more people need to utilize this tool. And when I utilize the tool, all of these fantastic things happen for me. And I want to share that skill set, that joy with everyone else. Plus, if y'all negotiate, it just makes us the status quo. It makes it so much easier for people who are not as competent as us or not as ready to make such big leaps to follow suit because it is expected. It just opens up the culture of medicine in such a different way. Once I realized that and I believed that about negotiation, that it is the tool, it is absolutely hands down the best tool that I can equip other doctors with in order to get what they want, in order for all of us to have good, fulfilling careers, to have wonderful, well rounded, balanced lives. Once I accepted that, the game changed, baby. Now y'all hear talk about negotiation every single episode if I can help it. If I can mention it, squeeze it in, I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna toot it because I believe in that. And I believe in myself as a provider that way. I know no matter where I go, patients are going to love me. I never have that problem. I have great rapport with patients. They're going to get the best pediatrician up in there. People are going to want to come back and have that experience. But that was because I negotiated for certain terms. For me to show up for my patients in that way, and for patients to have patient satisfaction, I had to negotiate to be in places where they didn't want me to see 30 patients a day. There's no way anyone's having a good experience when they're being rushed out of the office. When I have the opportunity to spend time doing patient education, really showing compassionate care, having conversations with families, talking about things that maybe they never got from another provider, recognizing parental struggles in a visit, and letting the parents know that it is okay, that things are not going the way they go in a textbook or the way you read about on the internet. All of these little moments contribute to how patients receive me and therefore build my reputation. I've never been in a place where patients have not special requested to see me. And that's not like, oh, Shanika, you're so amazing. It's like that is just the fact of the matter. A benefit of me negotiating for myself is that people feel seen, people get good care. And that is literally my entire goal and purpose in being a doctor, was to serve the community that I worked in. That was my whole underlying passion. How did I get there? I negotiated for my own boundaries, things that made me feel supported, things that made me feel like I could do a good job, that I had the time and the space to create that relationship with families. Anytime I was in a place where I was unhappy, like in residency, I was just trying to check boxes. I was just trying to do something quick so I could get out of the room. I could present to my attending. No one's going to yell at me. I only have this much time. I was stressed. I was not happy to always be there. And the small moments that I got from the joy of patient interaction were just overwhelmed by the badness, the rushing, the fear of making a mistake, the stress of working in an environment that did not actually put people over profit. All of that has shaped my medical career. It has been growth. This has growth over time, taking slow, incremental steps, saying something, asking for something, putting my name out there repeatedly over time is how I got to be where I am. It's why I'm going to Cabo maybe twice this year, Portugal, the Caribbean, maybe New Orleans again. I went twice last year. I have so many tickets on the horizon of places to go, ventures to do. All of that is part of the balance of my life. When I provide patient care, I am fully present because I know I'm getting breaks. They're built into my life. I know I'm going to enjoy my life when I'm not here. When I'm there, I can be fully present. I cannot be disgruntled. I can be happy. This has been a little bit of a circuitous conversation. I talked about negotiation. I talked about what's happening with me. I talked about lessons I've learned recently and then reflections on what got me here. I hope that's helpful for you. As I will continue to do, I implore you to negotiate for everything. Even when they say things are non-negotiable or my contract is standard, there are ways to finagle. There are ways to massage a deal. There are ways to collaborate on common interests that I would be more than thrilled to teach you how to do. That is not a problem for me. I'm a great coach, just like I'm a great doctor. Okay. I am tooting my own horn. I love coaching. I love being with people. I love teaching people things. That's how those roles overlap for me. It is what brings me fulfillment. And you're going to get them results, honey. I'm so enjoying my client roster right now. I'm working through all various stages of negotiation. I'm looking at all different types of contracts. I'm typing up manuals for my clients, things that they can use as references. It's just such a nice place to be because we are going to have a cultural shift in medicine. Medicine is crap in this country. There's just so much happening, so many bad things, pharma and insurance and Black maternal mortality and poor coverage of everything. It's just a hot mess. Abortion rights. There's just so many things going on. And the people that can fight it are us. We are the doctors. We are upholding this system. We are how hospitals make money. I read somewhere that each doctor earns a hospital system $2 to $3 million a year. And y'all want to argue with me about paying me? Oh no. No. I'm a ask. We're gonna have to talk about it. It's not, no. This is this is crazy. We have the opportunity to shift medicine, and that is why I'm so happy to teach negotiation because I think if we all get to practice the way that is meaningful for us, that means that a lot of us will stick around longer. If you don't want to stick around medicine, that's cool too. I'm like I said, I business coach. I advise. I have doctors who resign in my program. They quit their jobs. They make alternate moves. That's okay. The point is, how do you show up for your life? How do you get what you want out of your job, out of your life? How do you make an escape plan, an exit plan? How do you shift into a new job that's well-rounded and good for you, solid for you? All of those things we work on in this program. So when you're ready, which I think if you've been listening to this podcast for a while and you've been thinking about it, you are ready. It's already January 2024. Time's just going to keep going, regardless as to whether or not you move, right? So now's the time, seize the day. I love talking to y'all. Please feel free to leave comments on the podcast. Feel free to, and I think it's easier to do that on Apple than it is on Spotify. I would have to check, but leave comments, send me a DM, comment on Instagram, however you feel like reaching out to me, whatever is comfortable for you, that's fine. I love talking about this, obviously. I love talking to y'all. Have a great week. I'll be inside because it's 25 degrees. Bye.